everybody! Welcome to the SPOILERcast! It's just me! We are talking part 2 of the Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice SPOILERcast. With me, Beta, Seth, Jimbo, Pav, Grumpy, and Trevor. I didn't know which way I wanted to go with Pete. I'm Josiah LeRoy. That was the abbreviated version. Watch the first if you want to know. Anyway, picking up right where we left off. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. I don't know how to make it any more clear. If you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this. It's just that easy.
And this is twice as spoilery.
Twice as spoilery as the first one.
That's 2 times.
If you've seen part 1 and have not seen the movie, I have many questions for you. Anyway, let's start off with Batfleck. What'd you think of him?
Great.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably the most definitive on-screen Batman.
Whoa.
Hang on, let's start here.
Okay.
I'm just going to skip me. That's probably gonna
As Batman.
Start with Seth. These are the brains of this outfit.
Yeah. Well. I've seen that anyway.
Professor Seth.
Yes.
References his own newspaper.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Yes.
So this
Batman,
Batman, as I've noted, very Arkham-like in his look and a lot of his movement. It's kind of like the Batman I've always wanted to see on screen. The Batman in this is like a darker, more brutal version of the Arkham series Batman, which in turn is like a darker, more brutal version of the animated series Batman. He is like a different version of Batman, since he is older, he is more brutal, he is more cynical, he has less hope, he is taking a lot less crap, he kills people, which is like something I didn't really have an issue with. I don't know if you guys disagreed, but and then as Bruce Wayne, he was more competent, he was more detective-y, not the smartest Batman, but he was still more competent, and he wasn't quite the drunk playboy that Christian Bale's Batman was, but he had his own public persona going on, and I felt like all around it was probably my favorite on-screen Batman.
Trevor.
Well, Batman isn't really supposed to kill people, and I had a problem with that because, I don't know, that's just the Batman that I've always grown up with. So, especially the part where he just flies that jet in and just starts blowing everybody up, I had a huge problem with that. I don't know. I can see where you guys are coming from with the Arkham, especially in his fighting style when he's in that factory.
The way he uses gadgets too.
All of his gadgets and everything like that. Yeah. I thought for sure that when he had that sniper rifle thing, he was gonna snipe that dude right in the head. But
I know. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was like, wait.
And I think they did that because that was part of the marketing.
Yeah.
You saw him standing up there with that rifle in the trailer.
That was straight out of Dark Knight Returns, though. He has a sniper rifle that's, I think, was a grappling hook.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
It reminded me more of a Frank Miller Batman, where he's dark and brooding and old, and I didn't really understand
why Frank Miller or Batman.
A little both, I got.
Frank Miller's definitely. Frank Miller. I do not want to go to a cocktail party with Frank Miller.
No, that guy.
You talk about.
I was gonna say unkind things about women and the working class.
Woo! But it's like that. It's like that version of Batman, and I really enjoyed it. But I don't know, especially when they're leading up to the Justice League movies, and Batman wasn't old when they made the Justice League, so that it confuses me a little bit.
Well. So I'm going to be a little bit in the middle ground, I think. You lean more towards no, you more towards yes. I didn't care for him as Batman, but I loved him as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I thought that he did a really good job with that persona. From the trailers, I think it was the 3rd trailer, that one where Alfred makes a comment about possibly dying, and he just kind of has that look of, really, you're talking about this? He looked so boring and angry for no reason to me, and I wasn't into that. I'm like, oh, really? This is what we're going to get out of this? And you can't tell everything from a trailer. I get that. But after seeing the film, I liked him much better outside of the Batsuit than in.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, I think the problem isn't Ben Affleck. I think the problem is that he was given some really bad dialogue to work with. When Batman is standing there and looks at him and says, "Do you bleed? You will." It's just oh, please.
I hated that voice, by the way.
Yeah,
I like that line, though.
Oh, I liked it, alright.
I like that line.
Fun of it.
I like the line, too. Yeah, I like that dialogue. The dialogue is better in this than it was in Man of Steel. Different screenwriter.
Yeah,
They-
it's more comic booky,
There was a scene.
which is DC has that flair for the dramatic.
Might as well toss a coin to me.
Nice. There was a scene where Alfred's talking to Bruce Wayne about the voice modulator being broken, and it's like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
pitching a little bit lower than it normally does. They're making fun of. I think they're making fun of Chris Nolan's
you think so?
Batman. Yeah. Like,
Oh, I didn't
think
catch
there was
that.
a little knock at that, just like, okay, yeah, Batman's gotta have a dark and gritty voice, so let's put the voice modulator on him.
They're making fun of Chris Nolan, but they really went the Christopher Nolan route
And they
with the
did.
whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, that was one of the things I didn't like about the film, is that it was, they took everything that they thought was real successful about the Christopher Nolan trilogy and replicated it. That's what I didn't like about it. And you were talking about Ben Affleck as Batman and Bruce Wayne, and we strayed off to the Batman character.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess the question is Ben Affleck as the character or the character. So, I liked Ben Affleck. I did. I thought he was one of the stronger parts of the film.
He was better than I expected, but at the same time, a lot of critics are saying like he was the best part of the movie, and I don't agree with that necessarily. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, he was the best part of the headliners. I thought he was way better than Henry Cavill.
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree with that too.
Henry is.
I really like.
I know it's a different generation, and I don't mean to poke
It's
fun
a
at that.
very different
No.
Superman, but it is a
He's Superman to me.
It is a legit. I mean, he is like I really I liked Superman Returns better than most. But like Henry Cavill, like he looks so much like Superman. He's a better actor than Brandon Routh was, and this is a different Superman than we've had in the past. But I would say it's a legit take on Superman, and I would say that even though there was a lot of darkness in this movie, like you said, there isn't as much light or as much optimism. But I do think that Superman's character is lighter and is more earnest, but he is in a very dark situation, and I feel like it's still a Superman with a lot of conflict, and that's not a Superman that a lot of people like, but yeah, that's what they're doing in these.
Yeah.
I
I
really
think they
enjoyed it.
sucked that right out of Christopher Nolan's playbook.
I really enjoyed him as Superman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And after I watched it, like I said, I went back and watched Man of Steel, and I thought he was very stiff, very wooden in both of them.
I don't think so at all. I think
I love the theme that they do, that half the world hates him, but he still has that genuine desire to save the world and be amongst these people.
And he's like when he sees that news report of like somebody graffitiing spraying false god on the statue, he's like really sad. He's like, oh gosh, like I'm trying to.
yeah, he shows a lot of emotion, right? In that sense.
I love the scene where the room in the Capitol building blows up, and it goes back to him just standing amongst the flames and wreckage. He just looks devastated by that.
Yeah,
Literally, everyone else around him is incinerated.
get-
He's untouched, but he just looks broken.
you get much more of a sense that he cares. But his character has evolved from Man of Steel.
Definitely.
He's dealing with different things, but he feels close. He's not quite like the classic image of Superman yet, but he's getting there. And I have to say, I remember like 10 years ago when Superman Returns did come out, and a really common complaint with Superman in that movie and in the general public perception was that Superman was like too powerful, and he wasn't relatable, and he wasn't interesting. Say what you will about what they're doing with Superman now, but I mean, he's not really uninteresting anymore, and he is more relatable, and they have a lot of people don't like that, but that isn't really an issue anymore. People used to say that a lot. So.
I definitely think they've humanized him better than they have in the past, and that's been one of Superman's biggest hurdles for his comic book stories. Too often, it's hard for readers to relate to him because he is so super powerful. He's from a different world. I feel like Man of Steel and this made him more relatable as just a normal, average human being.
In one small sense, it may be a big contrast, but like the first time you saw Captain America, the first Avenger, seeing him in that good guy spirit that like almost got that morality to him, would do anything as long as it's right.
He's
like,
he's like a Boy Scout.
Yeah, you get a lot of that with him, and I don't know, it makes you want to root for him, I think.
Me
Maybe
too.
some people it would make me want to root against him, but I kind of, I don't know. I liked it. I liked him in Man of Steel, and I thought he did a fine job in this. Jamie, what did you think of Alfred in contrast to the past few Alfreds we've gotten, whether it's Gotham or Nolan's trilogy?
I didn't like him as much. I don't know what it is, but trying to think of
Got a problem with Jeremy
actors'
Irons?
names.
Yeah.
No, not a problem. He just wasn't as Alfred-y to me as I don't.
He wasn't quite as cordial.
That's right.
He was a little more like sardonic. He was like quipping to himself and like drinking scotch.
Yeah. Yeah, his nose up the entire time.
Again, I think some of this has to do with the screenwriting, because what they did this time around, in my mind, is they made Alfred not the butler, but also a combination of Alfred and Lucius Fox.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's the gadget maker.
Right.
He's the guy that plays with all the tinkering with stuff and stuff like that. And I didn't feel like it was... I didn't feel like it was a good use of Jeremy Irons, quite frankly.
Who plays Alfred in Gotham?
I don't know his name.
Okay. Well, that actor, I feel.
In the TV series.
In the TV series Gotham, I feel that is one of my favorite Alfreds.
I hated him at first and ended up loving him.
He's a badass. I don't know. I think he's really awesome.
Yeah, he is.
And then, oh gosh, actors' names.
Michael
Not
Caine?
happening. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Michael
Caine.
Michael Caine.
I think that Michael
Yeah,
Caine
that's
is
really
my
good.
favorite
That's
by
really
far.
He is probably my favorite.
I think he's my favorite too. Gotham's is a close second.
Yeah.
Michael Caine's very endearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting that he's the character that changes the most across the mythology.
Yeah.
Like, in everything. It's like,
There's never
it's not,
two the
It's
same.
not even
Yeah.
close.
Right.
Like, this guy is not even close to this guy.
Actually, Grumpy is playing Alfred in the 2020 remake of Batman.
I'll be darned.
I
It was a grassroots campaign, but
got the phone call the other day. They said,
Yes.
could you start
Like
working on your
Superman.
English accent? I said, no, but I could
Yep.
start drinking a lot.
I heard it, folks. I heard him on the phone. It was great. Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg, Beta.
This is another one I think they stole from Chris Nolan's playbook. Let's get a crazy villain in there. Let's get someone who's just off the rails and says, like, all of a sudden just the most poignant, some of the poignant lines in the story. I felt like I was watching a try at Joker when I was watching this Lex Luthor. I think Jesse Eisenberg did a great job. I have to say that first off. I think he did a good job, getting the villain that we needed for this movie. I don't think he played a good Lex. I think he played a good Lex Luthor Jr., but I don't think he played a good Lex Luthor.
Does that go back to screenwriting though?
Yeah,
I think it goes back to screenwriting in a sense. I think we can't fault Jesse Eisenberg on this one. I can fault him on some of the choices he made as far as how crazy he was ready to pull Lex too, because he kind of felt like, to me, he felt like like a Facebook millennial, like had.
Well, that's not fair.
It's like a crazy Mark Zuckerberg.
Like a crazy Mark
I mean, that's
Zuckerberg.
totally what it was. I mean, they reinvented Lex, just like in the way the 80s, before, Lex Luthor we used to be like a mad scientist, and then in the 80s, John Byrne, when he wrote Man of Steel, he reinvented Lex to be like this corporate Gordon Gekko Wall Street type, because that was like a social and financial enemy of the time, and so they reinvented him in that way, and they kind of did a similar thing here in making him a millennial and making him a tech mogul. I feel like it's probably the most intimidating on-screen Lex we've gotten, and I feel like there are a lot of traits that he has that are classic Lex and a lot that are not. Sorry. That wasn't my turn to
No,
speak.
that's okay. I knew that was how. I was just waiting for the fuse to explode before I was like, no, Lex is fine.
It's not like my ideal version of Lex,
Yeah,
but I think is a cool version of Lex. He was genuinely, scary at times, because you got the sense little by little that he is unstable.
I could have seen more. I would have been more comfortable if it were more Mark Zuckerberg that broke from time to time. But this guy never. This guy was always at 9 or 8 of always insane.
Yeah, just going crazy.
It was maybe a touch,
absolutely.
a little too goofy
it was
maybe
not
sometimes.
even. I mean, it was a completely transparent stealing of Heath Ledger.
I think so.
I wouldn't say
I think
that,
so.
yeah.
I have to agree more with that. I have to agree more with that.
Absolutely. I think that if Eisenberg played more of this character that he played as Zuckerberg, it would have been a better Lex Luthor.
I think it was influenced by Heath Ledger. I'm not sure it was completely ripped off. Let me say this before, because I know I've got something I wanted to bring up with Pawlak that we talked about real quick. I really enjoyed him. I think if you go into the movie, and it's hard not to, without a preconceived notion of what you want Lex Luthor to be, then it's a clean slate.
That's exactly how I went in. I have no.
Yeah, you're not
I have no frame of
overly
reference.
familiar
Yeah.
when, relatively speaking, to this,
Right. I don't have a frame of reference of Lex Luthor, so the way I saw it, he was funny. He was the comic relief. All the like riddly things he said were so great.
The Lois Lane line to me was hilarious. I know it was in the trailers, but it just, I don't know.
I like step into my office and he walks 2 feet over.
Yeah.
To the left.
That was creepy. I thought
That's Joker, though.
he's like
That's not Lex, that's Joker.
I
I
agree
think it wasn't
100%
that.
with that.
I mean, he
That's
wasn't
crazy. He gave the woman piss on. How did no one notice there was piss on the middle of a court hearing? That's ridiculous.
It was his bodyguard, Mercy Graves, slipped it in. She's the best pea jar.
Then they killed her
because it said peaches on the jar.
That's Joker. That's Joker.
I agree.
That's Joker.
All right, bring it back.
I wouldn't say it's too. I wouldn't say that's that far. Anyway.
Okay, Pawlak.
This is what we're dealing with.
That does not look like Jesse Eisenberg.
It does look like Jesse Eisenberg.
That does not look like Zombieland to me. Put that down.
No.
Let's name
Careful with my cardboard cutout, guys. Pawlak, you said. We may have to edit that out. There was a good point that you and I talked yesterday, and you said you didn't think you liked the character, but you didn't think this DC universe could handle 2 crazy villains. There's not room for both the Joker and Lex in this iteration, Jared Leto's and Jesse Eisenberg's.
Because Jared Leto's Joker is going to be just bonkers crazy.
If this is the bar, he's going to have to go way higher.
And I think it just kind of takes away, like, you know, if you've got 2 villains of basically the same kind of demeanor, it kind of takes away from both a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are probably, we have no idea really, but you get the sense that Leto is going to be in that same arena.
Yeah.
So, I had to bring this up real quick, Josiah. Seth and I just work right next to each other, like next A and B.
Yep.
And it's been very tense.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's been very tense. Because where you guys are in agreement, we are not.
Another story for another time.
For this, we're on edge of each other.
Jeff, be
But
sad. Dawn of opinions.
From our conflict has come this time, and that wasn't the best. This gem of an idea. I think that we are dealing with Lex Jr. and Lex Sr. is either cryogenically frozen or not dead.
I never said that as a gem.
I think it's a gem. I don't care what you think.
I never affirmed it or denied it.
And then we opened up the next movie where Lex is we get to see him again. Maybe Lex Jr. is dealing with Darkseid, but we see Lex Sr. come out. The cryogenic chamber opens, and we open to Bryan Cranston walks out. Lex
This guy
Sr.
with the Bryan Cranston, it never stops.
And he's in a full suit, and he's like, I apologize for my son.
Tim Watley?
I don't know about you guys. I really liked Kevin Spacey. I thought that he was a really
Superman
good...
Returns?
I did. He was a good, sinister version of Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor.
Yeah, well, I'm really used to like growing up with like the Justice League cartoon on TV.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really used to that Lex Luthor, like the deep voice and like I don't know, just something about
Very just in control of what's. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, he was a little wacky here and there, but not as not as
I
much
think the
as.
out of control is the thing that's
the problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like it's the problem. You don't get to head a multinational corporation by being manic out of control.
If you have a public facade where you do not show that, and you only behind closed doors do you show that unstable.
But that's
persona.
not what happened. I mean, he showed that in the
trailer,
the fundraiser at the beginning of the thing, where
he didn't come across as crazy. He came across as severely awkward.
Scattered free.
Now,
I got more awkward from
No, but that's
it's like his speech on the stage where he couldn't even finish it. It was I think he's way too similar to the Joker.
Yeah.
Way too similar.
I do hope that it maybe evolves from here. It's not. I did like it, but it's not my ideal version.
I want his dad.
Maybe from here, it seems like he's maybe going to be kind of like an agent of Darkseid or something. We just saw in a deleted scene. Did you see where he looks to be getting information from a Darkseid minion, whether it be Steppenwolf or somebody. But it's maybe he'll kind of be a little more in control of himself. I would like to see that. I would like to see him be a little less wacky.
Did you say Dawn of Opinion before?
Dawn of Opinions.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what I said.
That's exactly what this is.
I needed to bring that back because that may be the thumbnail title.
Jeez, Jeffy said.
Jeffy said Dawn of Opinion.
So Beta, Joker's referenced a few times.
Yes, I think he is. I think that we are. This whole movie's been set up for a larger universe, and we have seen we get to see the story a little bit, kind of behind the curtain of what's going on with Batman, with Ben Affleck's Batman, and I think we'll see him in the writings of one of the what was the guy in the wheelchair or
Wallace Keefe,
Wallace
played by
Keefe.
Scoot McNairy.
There you go.
Scoot.
And we'll see him.
Scoot in a wheelchair.
He's
Oh my
scooting.
gosh.
Well, that's damn ironic.
We're done here. There's nothing else we can tell you other than that.
And
He
we'll
scooted
see,
up the statue.
That's right. He
Scooted his theology all over.
You could have made all of that up, and we would have just believed it.
Yeah.
Yes, but there's people on the internet right now going. Check
I like that Seth kid. The Jeff kid doesn't know what he's doing. The other one, the beta one, he doesn't know what he's doing. The other big point to the Joker was the Robin suit. We assume that says in a nice green, ha ha ha, you let your family die. Or
The joke's on you. Yeah.
And I think this is just playing up to the the fight with the Joker. Because the big thing that I have a problem with all this Joker building up, and if he has killed the Robin, and if he has really just done a number, if he's burned Wayne Manor, if Batman is the gun-toting, angry, not think twice before killing somebody. If he sees the Joker, especially if he's like all tattooed up, and be like, "What's going on?" Right between the eyes. It's over.
Indiana
There's no
Jones.
way. Yeah, that's right. There's no way this Batman is not going to put the Joker through a wall and then or a spike through his chest.
That'd be very popular with the fanboys and girls.
Well, I mean, that's the problem we have with this Batman and Joker relationship now.
Maybe the Joker gets away from him. Maybe
Yeah,
Joker outsmarts him.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe
I
that.
hate that we've completely written Robin out of another series. Like, it's
Almost got him in the Nolan.
gone.
Well, we did.
I mean,
we got him. I say we got him.
We got Nolan's version. I mean, the solo Batman movie could very well have flashbacks to a younger. Ben Affleck could play a 30-year-old Bruce Wayne who has a Jason Todd. I mean, I think there's a decent chance that solo Batman movie might concern Jason Todd coming back as the Red Hood. In case there certainly will be
that'd be
flashbacks.
wonderful.
That'd be
That's been a
amazing.
popular
Wonderful.
rumor. I don't know how much water.
He'll also be in Suicide Squad from the set pictures.
Yes.
Batman.
To some capacity.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be
That
fun.
might not even be Ben Affleck. He might not even have a line. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Yeah, no,
all
I'm not
you
saying
ever
that.
see is
I never said that.
It's just right.
Saying
It
Batman.
might,
Lex might be in Suicide Squad. That's been a rumor as well.
Interesting.
Well,
Now that he's in prison.
Dude, if it's Lex Senior, I'm on board.
you'd be way too character heavy if you
This
start
guy.
to do that. If you start to throw all these other people into Suicide Squad, it'd be way too character heavy.
Speaking of character heavy,
Yeah.
well, she's not character heavy. What do you think of Wonder Woman?
Fantastic.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Good
On
stuff.
there.
that's
Gal
where I
Gadot
agree with
killed
critics. It's one of the best parts of the movie is Wonder
Absolutely.
Woman.
Her
Yeah.
Diana Prince is spectacular.
Yeah,
She has the
Oh, yeah.
catchiest new
She's
theme song
so
too.
Yes.
With
Or
the
with
guitar.
it's
That was
electric
awesome.
cello. It's
Electric
super
cello?
cool. It
That's
gets stuck
awesome.
in my head.
Oh,
yeah.
same here.
Yeah.
Her, and again, we always harp back to previous shows, but we talked about it, and it's about everything we expected, and she was the highlight in those brief moments she was on screen. For me, I wanted to see her, and I wanted to see Eisenberg mostly, and I liked them. They were two of my favorite parts of the
The
movie.
supporting characters
Yeah.
were the
You're
things
right.
Right. The
You're right.
supporting characters were the best things in this movie.
And it wasn't as epic as it should have been, but
Not
seeing
Alfred.
her with Batman and
Who's Alfred?
her with Batman and Superman for the first time was pretty epic. I thought.
Yeah.
In costume, out of costume, she's perfect. Jeff and I were like, all right, can we just see the Wonder Woman solo movie by now?
Yeah.
I
I really like the reveal of the photo. That was really cool. That was really just
Chris
exciting.
Pine was in there too.
He was.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that a cool little cameo?
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember, I was like, Star Trek. Captain Kirk. What? You love Star Trek?
Hey, Steve Trevor. The one, like,
I don't give a crap.
Nice catch.
Yeah.
In regards to Wonder Woman, I think the best part about Gal Gadot's portrayal of her was that
Godot.
what?
Godot.
Whatever.
Godot to go with.
Margot Robbie.
GG.
Margot Robbie.
Oh, time out. There's room for one GG, and it's that guy. Continue.
She says at one point that she left the world of man 100 years ago. So you get the sense that she's been around so much longer than Batman and Superman, and you see that because she's constantly outsmarting them. When they're fighting Doomsday, Batman has to just stand on the outskirts and throw his guns at him, stuff like that. Superman tries to fight Doomsday head on, relentless, and it doesn't really work out. Wonder Woman, on the other hand, uses her dexterity she goes around his defenses, and she always outsmarts Doomsday a little bit. So you see that she's the more refined, more strategic superhero between the three of them.
Best use of the whip. That was a great use of the whip. That was so cool.
That could have been so wrong.
You mean the lasso? You mean the lasso of truth?
Lasso of truth.
Come on, people!
Come on.
Hey, don't say people.
Too much.
It's Beta.
Indiana Jones.
That's what I got India on my mind.
Yeah, that picture that they released was one good bit of marketing they did.
Yeah.
The original release months back of her in the Wonder Woman costume, and then just this past week of the Wonder Woman set photo.
A few of the Amazon warriors.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
So
right.
excited.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for
Yeah.
that.
I think this is where the DCU has a chance. More so than the set they had here, because they are focusing back in on one character, and that's where I know you have to do this. Unfortunately, is that the Marvel Cinematic Universe came first, so they have to play on what worked for them. What worked for them was focusing on Iron Man, and then building it out. So we have the big base now. Let's hopefully when they focus back in on the Suicide Squad and they focus back in on Wonder Woman, we get some power here. Because right now it's lackluster, which is unfortunate.
You're totally right. The build-up was not here. So the first time we see the Avengers together, it's awesome because we
know all of them.
Yeah, we've got to know them.
The bow.
Yeah, who the heck is that guy? But that is, you look at this as almost a setup movie where Avengers was the end of the build-up. It's very different as much as DC wants it to be similar to what we've seen with the MCU. But other characters to get to, I actually really, really liked how they revealed Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg.
I didn't like that.
That was
that
one of my least favorite parts. I thought that was totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
I thought what they did earlier when Bruce Wayne was looking at the files and you saw like the logos there, and you had the Flash Crisis on Infinite Earths thing where he was trying to warn Bruce.
Oh, the Speed Force.
That was awesome, and that was enough. I feel like showing them, having Wonder Woman look at it, like all that, like maybe an after credit scene for that, but I feel like that was unnecessary.
Here's why I didn't mind it. Going into it, it was one of the biggest problems with the marketing was that they were touting all these characters and saying who's playing them all and building them up like they were going to have slightly more prominent roles in the film. I was fine because they were on screen for like a half a minute each and they were gone. And they weren't talked about again, really. I mean, it was just done. I had no problem with it.
Metahumans was brought up a lot. Metahumans is what they're referred to as.
But
so they do talk about metahumans a lot, which could have gotten confusing. I think that confused me a bit. And my big complaint with the whole thing was, so Lex gives them all of their symbols. They don't get to claim their own titles.
I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, they're like, it's like, what does he do? He's fast. Give him a little lightning bolt. That's a good idea.
Because a lightning bolt was in the security camera footage. Yeah.
That's true.
That's okay. So the Flash is on. No, I will say the found footage of the Flash. That was cool.
It was cool.
That was cool. I did like that. I think seeing him as the Flash without his costume was like, that's
was
awesome.
cool. Yeah, it was
cool.
I liked what was in there. I just feel like
silly.
What it was it was placed in a weird too. That scene took place right like after the Superman had been shown that Lex has his mother captive, and just before their fight, it was like it was edited in such a weird place. It totally broke the momentum.
Well, they shoehorned it in there.
Yeah.
You know, like it was like, oh, we got to do this.
I didn't feel like there was a whole lot of momentum anyway. I think it was just kind of there, and I didn't like. The movie was so disjointed that that's why it didn't deter me from it at all.
Yeah.
That was another awkward Joker moment from Lex too, where he turned a what was it, the egg timer.
Yeah.
What? He's a tech mogul and he turns an egg timer.
It's hilarious because he's unstable and he's an idiot and he's using one of those.
But that's not Lex.
This is not the Lex that you've come to know.
Not the Lex that you've come to know. Yeah.
I could see.
You gotta get it out of your head, otherwise it's gonna ruin it for you next time you see him again.
Unless his dad comes along. That's it.
Alright.
One more time with your own episode.
One more time with the dad.
Who could play his dad, Beta?
I don't know. Bryan Cranston. That's it.
He'd be a good Commissioner Gordon.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Although I don't mind
Anti-Dente.
I don't mind J.K. Simmons. I don't mind Whiplash in that role either.
You would have thought.
Can we address the Martha thing?
Let's talk about the Martha thing.
Okay,
because
so... 1 second.
Holy cow!
Now he called me Jimbo. Alright. Look what you did. Okay, anyway. I had a problem with, let's see, so many things at this point. The build-up for Batman why was Batman so angry? They didn't play that up very much. Why was he so mad at Superman that he wanted to kill him all of a sudden? Not all of a sudden, but he just wanted to kill him.
I say, hang on.
I'll let your brother take this one.
I say, hold it right thought.
Really?
Hold that thought. We're going to go to part 3.
Oh my god.
Wow.
That is not a planned cliffhanger. We've got to cut it off here, folks. Join us for part 3. Again, thank you for watching. We'll see you for that.